Welcome to the Renault Trucks factory in Bourg-en-Bresse. We will be showing you how our vehicles are assembled. The factory has two assembly lines, each 500 meters long and divided in three sections. The first line is for the assembly of construction vehicles, while the second is for long haulage vehicles. The side panels are held together by cross members. The structure is assembled upside down for ergonomic reasons, to avoid arduous and awkward positions. This means that the operators do not have to work under the chassis with their arms in the air. The factory uses a pick-to-light system so that the operators know which parts and how many parts to pick. When the operators start picking, different colored lights are lit on the shelves where the parts are stored. Each color corresponds to a box in which the operator places the picked parts. Next to the lighted buttons, indicators show the number of parts to be picked. The operator presses on this light to confirm the retrieval. At the same time, the stock is automatically updated, triggering replenishment from the central stock if necessary. During preparation of the chassis, a temporary adhesive tape is applied with precision to the side members to show operators in which holes they need to add bolts. We have now reached the end of section 1. The chassis has been assembled. Tightening drivers are suspended to provide maximum floor space. The riveting machines, which are very heavy, are hung on the pneumatic arms so that the operators don't have to bear their weight. Each tightening driver is calibrated according to the degree of tightening required. This document accompanies the chassis to the end of assembly. The first pages detail the composition of the vehicle with the options requested by the customer. The operators consult this document to see what needs to be fitted. As each truck is different, this document is crucial. The rest of the document covers quality. The controller validates the quality of the work with a stamp bearing its name. The factory is currently introducing a touch screen system that allows controllers to validate 50 control points. The chassis is transferred overhead to section 2. At this stage, it's still upside down. In this section, the lower part of the chassis is aided, which involves all the components located under the chassis. There are about 3 kilometers of electrical cables and wiring on each vehicle. Colored rings prevent connection errors. Skylights have been installed to maximize light, improving working conditions and reducing energy consumption. We are now at the axle workstation. The axles come from Renault Trucks factory in Saint-Priest. When they get here, they are already filled with oil to prevent them from soiling the assembly line. This is where the axles are prepared before being fitted onto the chassis. This is also where we add leaf springs for the suspension. We have now reached the beginning of section 3, where the chassis is turned over. This is the most impressive operation of the line, as a huge volume and weight are lifted in a few minutes. After this, the chassis is right side up. A transfer system with a belt at the rear and a free axle at the front is used to lift, transfer and return the chassis. The belt is placed under the rear part of the chassis, while the free axle is attached to the front cross member. Here we are where the power system is fitted on the chassis. This special tightening driver is on a stand that is as wide and deep as the front cross member of the chassis. The operator places a double-headed tightening driver onto the front of the chassis just below the two bolts to be tightened. The two bolts' head starts to rotate while being raised. The tightening starts when they come into contact with the two bolts. The Bourg-en-Bresse factory has two power unit preparation lines, one for 11-liter engines and the other for the 13-liter engines. At the beginning of the line, the engine is placed on a support that moves forwards and on which the radiator, clutch and gearbox are added. Once completed, the power unit is delivered just in time to the workstation. This is where the cab is placed on the chassis. The cab that are assembled in Bourg-en-Bresse are manufactured at our site in Blainville-sur-Orne. The Bourg-en-Bresse plant has a cab preparation line where the cab interior is finished and parts such as the steering wheel, mirror and spoiler are fitted. There are two lines for preparing and fitting the various sub-assemblies onto the cab. Here we can see the insulation and the soundproofing being assembled. The operators were involved in designing this support to improve the safety and ergonomics of their workstation. This means they don't have to walk backwards to carry out their operations. We are now at the place where the fuel tanks are fitted to the vehicles. This electronic box has a Wi-Fi connection to the factory's IT system. Connecting it to the onboard computer enables the trucks to be programmed. Two types of tanks are fitted. The first are made of steel for robustness on the construction range, and the second are made of aluminum for lightweight on long haul range. Each tank has a QR code for identification. All our vehicle parts have these QR codes for traceability. Here we are at the quality control, where we check that all quality procedures have been followed throughout the assembly process. This visual computer system shows what has been achieved in relation to the daily target. The factory fits the tires onto the rams according to customer requirements. Rams are available in steel, aluminum, or chrome. There is also a selection of tires brands offered to customers. There are Tightening driver on each side of the vehicle to tighten the wheels. They are connected to the computer system to ensure correct tightening. We have reached the last stage of assembly. After adjustments and checks, we feed the steering wheel. The engine is started up for the first time. Only 500 meters and 4.5 hours separate the start of the assembly from the finished vehicle, as ordered by the customer. Each vehicle is different from the last. We make trucks on demand and to measure. Our customers have the option of choosing side fairings to boost the vehicle's aerodynamics and further improve fuel consumption. 4.5 hours after the vehicle enters production and 500 meters farther, the vehicle is finished. The last parts to be fitted onto the vehicle is the steering wheel. We are now in the workshop for setting the cameras used to ensure the safety of drivers and road users. For example, detecting the white lines on the road side or calculating the distance between two vehicles. Let's have a look at the test benches. These are roller benches on which all vehicles are tested in real-life conditions. High and low speed braking, differential lock, and other tests. It's only after these tests have been passed that the vehicle will be put on the market. After finishing, all vehicles do 2 laps of the 1.5 km test track, during which the emergency braking and the rollover protection systems are controlled.